Good evening, Surrey Eagles fans. Cole Marton outside the Scotia Barn getting you set for all of the action between the Surrey Eagles and the Powell River Kings, which will square off tonight at 7:30 Pacific time. This is the Telus pregame show here as the Eagles are looking to get themselves back into the win column after a 4-3 overtime loss to the Coquitlam Express on Wednesday evening. The Powell River Kings, they're looking to get back into the win column as well. They are coming off a 5-4 shootout loss a night ago in a game that saw them go 2 for 6 on the power play despite the outcome going against them the way that they had hoped. Your key players to watch in tonight's game for the 4-2-1 Surrey Eagles, look for number 18, Brandon Sanawana. The University of Connecticut commit has a goal and 7 assists on the season so far for 8 points in 7 games as he continues to show why he was able to earn an NCAA Division I scholarship last year and to try and lead this Eagles team to a win here this evening. For the Powell River Kings, we're going to focus on Nolan Krogfoss, the center for the Kings. Started the season on the top line before he succumbed to an injury in the second game of the year. He has played in 2 games since returning, 4 games overall in the year. He's got 2 goals and 4 assists to pace his 2021 pod season. Your 3 keys for tonight's game. The first key here for Surrey, if they want to come out with a win, is they have to tighten up their level of play. They have been a little loose, a little run and gun throughout this pod season. Well, let's see if they can tighten things up, play a little bit more structured, and come away with a few more wins here. It all starts this evening. The second key for tonight's game is going to be the Eagles' penalty kill. Like I said earlier in the pregame show, Powell River is coming off a 2 for 6 outing on the power play against the Express in their defeat. The Eagles will need to be strong on the penalty kill in order to keep this top power play unit of the Kings at bay, which features one of the best goal scorers in the BCHL in Josh Kagan and another former Eagles player who has had a great season in Adamo Santia. Your final key for tonight's game for Surrey is they have to make sure that they manage the game properly. They have come out at times and tried to use their skill and speed to kind of put themselves in good spots, but if the Eagles don't manage the game, they might see themselves blow a lead like they did on Wednesday evening when they gave up the 1-goal lead in the third and had to battle back to force that one into overtime where they ultimately ran out of gas. That's everything here for the pregame summary. Don't go anywhere on this Surrey Eagles pregame show powered by Telus. Interview with Eagles head coach Cam Keith is coming up next on Eagles Hockey, which you are watching on BCHL TV, powered by Hockey TV and Mixler.com/EaglesBCHL. Cole Marton, play-by-play broadcaster of the Surrey Eagles, pleased to be joined by Eagles head coach Cam Keith ahead of tonight's game versus the Powell River Kings. And Cam, thank you so much for doing it. And first question here, a nice easy one. What are you looking for your team tonight, bouncing back after the loss against Coquitlam?
I think at this point we're just trying to improve on, a wide variety of structural things. Defensively, we're still trying to play different ways that I think old habits that kind of been ingrained in kids from midget and usually the beginning of the season to kind of iron these things out, exhibition games and whatnot. And we haven't been able to play 5-on-5 practices all year. It's been skill work. So it's kind of a bit of a challenge to kind of incorporate structure as well as, kids getting back into battling and all these. A lot of firsts are being thrown up at once. So we'd like to be a little tighter in our D zone, not allow those second chance opportunities in the slot. And then offensively as well, just a little more structure so the guys are a little more predictable to each other. Sometimes we have good structure and other times we're a little bit more fly by the seat. So, try to be a little more predictable to each other tonight and find ways to get to the net, which usually comes with good structure.
All right. The last time we had the chance to talk, you talked about how this season is more so a development year than others, with it only being a 20-game pod season and playoffs being an uncertainty. So let's talk about how do you feel your team has developed so far through 8 games, and who has impressed you so far through the 2021 pod season?
I think the development part of it's gone great. I think it's we know how much these kids have gotten better through practice. So it's more about them kind of displaying that and showcasing themselves. So when I say development, I mean more like the focus isn't completely on wins and losses. It's more about us trying to get better as a group, as a mindset. Um, the best way to play a game is just try to win it. that's how the competitive juices come out, and the real hockey is played, those one-on-one battles. And I thought last game against Coquitlam was a perfect game for that. It was a very hard fought, every inch had to be earned kind of game, and that's when the true development comes out, as you start to understand how to make plays when things are tight, and more puck protection, simpler kind of stuff works than the high end skill plays. So trying to get a healthy mix of that. As far as players to pick one, I mean the obvious one would be Jimmy Darby. He's put a lot of work in, the last probably year and a half of just trying to find his offensive game. It's always been there. He's just a guy that takes pride in the D zone and playing within himself, and we're trying to get him out of that shell, and you can see that it's really paying off. Holden Cardinals, another kid that put a lot of work in this year, a first year kid, and you can kind of start to see glimpses of what he's going to be, and it's pretty exciting. That's a tough question because I feel like all these kids are doing really well. But yeah, I guess if you were to put it, just one kid, Jimmy Darby's done a really good job. I think that's pretty evident. Him playing power play and a lot of roles, and doing what he should be doing as a leader.
All right, final question here for you, Cam. You guys are 8 games into the pod. It's a very tight pod between the Coquitlam Express and the Powell River Kings. How do you feel the competition has been in this pod to further progress the development of your team?
Yeah, it's tremendous. It's the Coquitlam and Powell River, they had to find a lot of different pieces from kids that left, and I mean we had to as well, but especially with their teams and Coquitlam turnover a coach, but they've both done a tremendous job of kind of rallying their kids together to compete. And when it comes down to games, it really doesn't matter so much the skill level as who wants it more. And both those teams you can tell that the kids are hungry for hockey and to prove themselves. And anytime that teams that are cohesive like that, playing each other multiple times, you're never going to be able to dominate them every game. So even though we beat Power River 8-1 last game, I'm expecting a very tight, close game, which all the rest of them have been. And same with Coquitlam, we beat them 5-1 one game, and then the other 3 that we played against them have been very tight. So this is what we wanted. We wanted it to be competitive. This is what the scouts want to see, and so feel very fortunate that it is tight, and hopefully it kind of remains that way for the rest of the pod season.
All right, Cam, thank you so much for doing it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night, and best of luck for your team against the Powell River Kings here this evening.
Thanks, Cole.